Academy Live, where we bring you all things concerning the home buying process so you can be fully equipped to get your future home, whether it's your first, second, third, fourth, fifth home. We are here to help you. I'm one of your hosts, Maurice Jones, and I have Chad here with me today, as always.
What's going on, good people? Hope you guys are doing great. My brother Mo, great to see you again
Always a
on another
pleasure.
Tuesday.
Yes, sir. How you been?
Man, I'm doing great, brother. Just coming down from that vacation high.
Mm,
Not even coming down, just a different experience, man. I learned a lot. I went to New York for like 12 days, and it was amazing to go back home and to see family and to connect like generations, like my children here, getting them together with their aunts and their grandmother and their cousins and it was just a beautiful thing, man. So I'm happy to be back.
mm.
But I'm loving all that I learned in that trip, man. It was dope, bro.
That's awesome, man. And were you able to? I meant to ask you, but were you able to see like your sisters at work? Because like I know they're in the real estate space too.
Oh,
How was
yeah,
how
no,
was that?
we actually did some work together down there. We did some business together. So
That's
up there,
awesome.
should I say? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's really
Yeah, it was
awesome.
really cool. We went to go see a couple of properties. We went to go see a client that we closed. We were supposed to see another one, but we didn't get a chance to. Oh man, that would have been cool. But you know what was really cool?
Hmm.
I was able to introduce my children to some people that I used to work with. One of my partners that I used to work with when I was in New York, my
Okay.
cousin, and also one of the most, uh, uh, I mean, he's probably one of the dopest dudes in real estate I know. But he started out working with me, and where he's gone is just ridiculous. And he was telling me about all the people who used to work with us who
Right.
are now millionaires and doing great things in their careers, and it just made me really grateful that I was a part of something that really has turned into a lot of prosperity for a lot of people, man. So that was a real dope experience, and to hit and for my kids to see it,
Hmm.
and
That's
to hear it firsthand. Because I mean, it's one thing if I say what we used to do and how how we got into the game and the impact that we made, but when they're able to see people who did it too, it also lets them know that I think that it's another option, especially for
hmm
my oldest son.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's awesome because I remember you were sharing with me, and I don't know if you thought about like reflect on this like yourself, but like just kind of what you were saying. We've been both been in Florida for about 8 years now, and so
crazy.
to go back home after a while and seeing people like that you helped come up, like help get into the space, like we collaborated, so you're helping me get into the space too, right? And then seeing those people that impact, it's like wow, they still crushing it, they still doing it, they still leveling up. Kind of like what you're saying. That's kind of inspirational too, because now you're in a whole
Yeah,
different
man.
state, doing your thing, but you're still seeing the impact you had back at where you started.
Yeah, man. That's a beautiful thing, brother. So I'm
Yeah, that's
really
awesome,
grateful.
man.
Yeah, I'm grateful to be in the space that I'm in, and right now what I'm looking at is this next iteration of who I am and what I have to offer. Really
Right,
being in this position to be on the education side of it,
right.
man, it's cool, bro. I'm really grateful. I'm really, and I'm leaning into it because I'm resistant to this right here. I'm very resistant to being on social media. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to put this thing on Instagram, and
Mhm.
I ain't getting it, bro.
That's right.
Uh,
We would save the clips for social for Instagram. That's I decided I
all right,
made that
cool.
audible last week. I'm just gonna do the shorthand clips
All
for
right.
Instagram.
So can we make the screen bigger? Because you look small.
Oh, what you mean? Oh yeah, let me there we go.
Okay, cool, cool,
Better,
cool.
perfect. Yeah. So speaking of gratitude, let's get into our grounding and gratitude session, where we kind of reflect on, just coming into the moment, being grateful. Um, you want to take it away with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, uh, again, we're here with another blessed day, and an opportunity for us to work towards our goals in the home ownership space. And the beauty of it is that it's really the marriage of many different disciplines coming together in harmony. So, in that harmony, I want to take a moment for us to just get connected to this moment so that we're taking this opportunity with intentionality. And the intentionality here today is to be able to apply, absorb, and activate based on the things that you pick up through this process. And what I want to leave you with is you're not alone. Be willing to connect with us. You could hit us up on our different social media. You could go on the link that there's going to be in this video so that you could go ahead and schedule a one-on-one call. But let go of everything else in this moment so we could just get connected. All right. So we're just going to take a few deep breaths in. All right. So just start with one deep breath. You can inhale deeply and then hold it at the top and then release slowly. And what I want you to do is pick up gratitude. As you take this next breath, pick up some gratitude, things that you're grateful for. It could be nice, beautiful, small things, right? Like take that in. Just hold it for a second. Bask in it for a second. Just go ahead and release that breath. All right. And pretty much what I want everyone to do is just think about one thing that they can connect to today that they're grateful for. And for me, brother, my thing that I am grateful for today is this combination of honey nut Cheerios and granola with oat milk. Yeah, man. It's just a cool little snack, delicious little snack, and it's healthy. Oh man, I'm grateful for that.
I'm grateful for this home gym, and just being able to like stay consistent. I have no excuse. Like literally, on behind this camera is my equipment, so I have like no excuse not to stay on track. So I'm just grateful to be in a space of that. You know, God's been good, man. God has been truly good. If you're watching this, just drop in a comment real quick. What are you grateful for? Just it could be life, family, your health, your strength, whatever it is you're grateful for. Drop it below in the comments. All right. So now we're going to move to our next segment, just kind of get you guys flowing here. I'm going to give you guys a little thought for today. Just something to think about, something to think about in the moment. And so the scripture I was meditating on today was Hebrews 11:1 that reads, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things hoped for, sorry, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. My apologies. But in that scripture, it makes you think about how God puts the desires in our hearts for a thing. And we have to believe God more than we believe what we see. Because something can come like your first home that you're purchasing. You may not know the method or the how or the when, but if you know it's a desire that's in your heart, God is going to make a way for you. So it's time to believe in the impossible. And this time now more than ever is the perfect opportunity for you to shift your way of thinking. Believe the impossible, believe that God can do above all that you can ask, think, or imagine. But it starts with that faith. It starts with you first saying, you know what? Even though I don't see the how, I know the who. And trust that anything is possible. Because one thing that we're going to be talking about tonight are some very excellent and amazing ways that can make your home buying experience possible. And so, what we
Awesome,
talking
man.
about tonight, Chad?
Hey, man, listen. So we're in a particular time in that there's just one real thing to focus on right now. If you're looking to buy a house, or if you're looking at the home buying trends and you're saying, "Oh, this is a bad time to buy a house," anytime that you could buy a house and borrow money at 0% interest might be an opportunity to consider buying, right? And that's exactly what we're dealing with now. We have the Hometown Hero program coming back into effect starting July 1st, which means that it's right around the corner. And if you had any ambition to buy a house, I could imagine that one of the biggest considerations for a home buyer at any time is the capital used to actually buy the house. Now, what Florida is doing is there's this program called Hometown Heroes, and it used to be reserved for first responders, that's your nurses, your police officers, and it was effectively blessing the people that bless us in society, your teachers. But they've taken away any kind of barrier. All that's required is that you're a resident of Florida and that you actually are employed by a Florida based company. Now, that doesn't mean that had to originate in Florida. They just have to have an office here in the state. And once we could establish that, you're eligible for for down payment assistance in the form of a 5%, 0% interest silent mortgage. What that means is you're not going to be making payments every single month. The loan that you'll be paying back is once you've established enough equity and decide that you want to sell the house or refinance the house. Now, a lot of people say, and forgive me, I don't see why this is, the way that you would look at this particular opportunity. But people say, yeah, but I'm gonna have to pay that money back. Think about it. What you're actually doing is borrowing that money to get into real estate now, and it's at a cost of 0% interest. So effectively, what it's doing is it's allowing you to actually substitute the money that you could use or wait and save, and actually go ahead and front the money for your down payment. But the beauty of it is that it's not costing you any investment other than the investment into your house that's going to produce the equity that you'll be paying back the second mortgage with. You won't be paying your own money. You'll be paying the money that was possible because Hometown Heroes was able to be the down payment that got you into the house in the first place. So now you're not paying it with any additional cost. You're just paying dollar for dollar what you borrowed. And that could be up to $35,000 to change the game for you.
Mm,
Because all it takes is one house to get started in this space of financial abundance, really. Because what's wealth to each person is different. Now, of course, the definition of wealth is being able to have your assets, residual assets, pay your debt and your lifestyle.
mhm.
But really and truly, this is the start. This is where it all gets started.
Let
So,
me. Oh
Hometown Heroes is back July 1st.
no,
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I was gonna ask you a question about that as far as like the mindset piece behind that, because when you get a essentially, when you get a mortgage, you have to pay that money back, right? So
Right.
why do I guess people feel or think differently for this funding versus a mortgage? Because to your point, a lot of people's fear is I got to pay this money back. Could you kind of unpack that a little bit more for?
Yeah, so a lot of the times what people are thinking is when they think payback, they're thinking payback based off of the resources that I have right now today. But
Mm,
when you're looking at this kind of an opportunity, it's not a matter of the resources that you have. It's going to be about the resource that you develop over time. So you're not going to be responsible for paying off your mortgage and then coming out of your pocket and then paying off that loan. No. When
mhm,
you refinance or when you sell the house, the money that you would have developed in equity, right? Now, for example, here we are in 2025. If you'd have bought your home 5 years ago, there's a good chance that your property would be worth 50,000, 60,000, 70, 80,000, in some cases, even $100,000 more. Now, you buy
mm,
your house today, not to say that we experience those same kind of gains, but if you ever have to hold on to your mortgage and then pay it off for whatever reason, only at that point is the amount that you've actually built in equity going to be used to pay back the money. And again, it's at a 0% interest rate. So it
mm.
makes every bit of sense in the world.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So the thing about it is that there are a few qualifications that you do need to meet. Now, there is an income limit. So if you make, and they're going to be presenting all of the new guidelines, but last year the maximum income that you could make was $135,000 uh, based on the area that you're in. Different uh, counties have different income requirements. So there was some that if you made 130,000, that was the max. Others 120 was the max. So it really depended. And when it comes back, they're going to give the guidelines again, but normally you can't be about 120% above the AMI of an area. So that's just one thing to consider, but also the credit score. You need a 640 credit score. So if you're not quite there right now, what you can realize is that the money that you might have been saving towards the down payment, you won't need nearly as much because you're gonna have the 5% given to you from from Hometown Heroes. I keep on saying Downtown Heroes, Hometown Heroes, that could fundamentally help you to put 3.5% towards the down payment and 1.5% towards your closing cost. And if you're able to get sellers concessions, in many cases, you could come to the table with very little money, right? So we want to be able to explore what those possibilities look like. That's why I'd highly recommend to book a call, because we could start taking a look at what areas you're interested in, how far you are with your credit, and what it would look like in terms of the money out of your pocket to make home ownership a reality. And it's all within reach. Just set up a call, click the QR code, or reach out to us via email or any of my DMs that you're viewing from, and we'll be able to help you take those next steps. But what
Okay.
other kind of questions do you think people have about a process like this, brother?
Um, one question that I had, I think that's as popular is like the amount based on income. Because you went into that a little bit, but from my understanding, it's like the lower, I guess, the lower your income, the more you can qualify for. Or
Well, this program is a flat out 5% down payment
oh, five.
assistance. So
Okay,
as
got it.
long as you're in the bucket of people who qualify, which again, you have the income restriction, but it's not like many county programs who are a lot more rigid in terms of how much income you can make to qualify. It's
Mhm.
not going to be based on your household size either. So really the only barrier is the credit score and making less than and again, it's 120%, 120% of the AMI of a particular area. That's the average median income,
Mhm.
right? So with that being said, that's going to keep a lot of people eligible. So many of you will be eligible for this program and be able to capitalize on this phenomenal gift that is, again, a 0%. And even though it's not forgivable, you'll be able to build wealth without having to pay interest on that money. So that's a
Mhm.
blessing.
And so is this just for first time home buyers? Are there like programs out there? Like I know we're primarily focusing on Hometown Heroes, but like for someone who may not be like fit the caliber for that, are there programs out there for down payment assistance outside of that?
Well, for
I mean,
hometown heroes, it is for
for
down
first time
payment
home buyers.
assistance. It is for your first time home buyers. And in order to be classified as a first time home buyer, it means that either you've never owned before, you haven't owned in the last 3 years. So as long as you have not owned a property, like you sold a house and here you are, you're back into the market looking to buy again, as long as it's been a 3 year gap, you'll still be eligible for hometown heroes, as well as just about all of the county programs that are available as well.
Mhm.
But again, compared to the county programs, we're not looking at your household size in order to qualify you for Hometown Heroes. So
Right.
generally, you'll be able to close a lot quicker than you would with a lot of the other down payment assistance programs. So it's really a good deal. It's really a good situation.
Are there any like home type like restrictions? Like it has to be a regular home. It can't be a condo or a
Yeah,
new build.
from
Like
last year, the restriction was it couldn't be over 700,000.
okay.
Right. So the
Oh,
purchase price max was 700,000. That's why it went up to 35,000. So
oh,
when
you
they
can.
bring back the 35,000, you could go up to 700,000 and you put down your 5%, which is the 35,000. You're in the game. You just got a mortgage to pay.
I was gonna say if you if you buying a house that expensive, why do you need down payment assistance?
I mean, listen, it's
Yeah,
available. Why not?
yeah,
Zero
yeah.
percent.
That's
I mean,
true.
those
That
are the people that,
see,
and there's
yeah.
no crazy hit on the interest rate.
Hmm.
A lot of people were concerned last year that the pricing would be I guess, less appealing, but that hasn't been the case up to now with Hometown Heroes in the 2 years that it's been in existence.
So let me ask you. I'm gonna throw you a curveball. All right, I get it. I qualify for Hometown Heroes, but I also qualify for a different home buyer, a down payment assistance. Can I do both of those on one house?
That's a great question. So you can't stack down payment assistance with Hometown Heroes. Hometown Heroes has to stand alone. There are other programs
Mm.
that you can stack. So let's say, for example, there's a grant that's being given by a smaller organization, and they're giving $5,000 here or $10,000, you can match that up with a county program. And there are ways that you could put, I've heard of people stacking 3 and 4 programs together to make it so that the person actually was left with a very small mortgage. So yes, there are ways you could do it, but you can't do it with Hometown Heroes.
Mhm. Let's see. So I'm trying to go through some of the questions here that we have.
But what I would say is this, right? Like I've seen this program impact people's lives in a major way because again, um, this is in the second year, so
Hmm.
a lot of people didn't know, you know, all of the details or if it was as good as it sounded. Some people were really thinking that it's too good to be true. But I had a client in particular, and I think that we're going to interview her over the course of the next couple of weeks because
Hmm.
she had so much resistance to this process because she wanted so badly to become a homeowner, but there were so many different hills to climb, starting with the credit, which took a while. And again, a lot of the times people start their credit journey and things go great, and then life happens and
Hmm.
you start going up like this, and then something happens and you like this, and then the goal is to catch your balance at some point so that you could keep on trending up. And
Hmm.
that's what's so good about this system and this program is that when people start looking good and they fall down, they're not by themselves because we have a constant and ongoing mechanism of outreach, and our outreach could pick people up at the right time. So when they feel as if all is lost, we can say, hey, listen, there's no pressure, there's no rush, no fuss. Let's start where you are and just
Hmm.
work and walk towards where you want to be. And with that support and also the tools and the resources that come about at the different specific spaces in the journey,
Hmm.
it makes it so that it more is a matter of process because that ignorance gap is filled by our expertise. And the
Hmm.
ignorance gap is just a matter of you not having gone through the experience before. So
Right.
nothing to feel ashamed about or anything, but we're able to fill in the gap, whether it's a credit issue, a budgeting issue, or down payment. So yeah, man, this is a great opportunity for people looking to buy now.
So you gave the analogy of like how we come in to help on the back end. If you start doing good and you need that support, reach out to us. But for those that they reach out and say they have to give up the home in like 3 years, 5 years, and they got the home with the hometown hero. Is that like one of those situations where they got to pay that off immediately because they're leaving the home or have to or they're moving? Like,
So let's say
what are the
somebody
parameters
bought
around
home,
that?
they bought a house with Hometown Heroes 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And now they need to sell their house. All right, let's say that they bought the house for 300,000 and now they're going to sell the house for 320, and the down payment assistance was for 15,000. They're going to have to pay the 15,000 and they'll get the 5,000, right? But that's 5,000 that you wouldn't have had access to without that 15 that you had to
True.
invest, right? So it only comes out with the payoff, right? You once you are doing one of two things. You're paying off the mortgage to refinance and get a new mortgage, or you're paying off the mortgage to sell and cash out of that house. Either way, with whichever circumstance, Hometown Heroes is going to require you to pay it off. Now, there is one possibility. Now, this is very likely when you're dealing with a lot of the county programs,
Mm.
but you can do a loan subordination. And all that means is that if, let's say, you're refinancing, but you haven't really built up that much equity, and you want to keep that that second mortgage in place without paying it off. This is particular with the county. I know that they'll do this. You would have to reach out to them and do what's called a subordination, which means that the primary mortgage holder is going to be in first position on the title of your property, and then
Mm.
behind them is going to be the down payment assistance. And when this mortgage is paid off for a refinance, that would mean that this mortgage would organically move into first position.
Mm.
However, there's another mortgage that's going to take place because it's going to refinance. So you'd actually have to do a subordination agreement to keep this mortgage in second place, and then another new mortgage takes the place. So now ultimately, instead of having to pay off this second mortgage, They'll
Right.
let you refinance with a new loan, keep the loan in place. And the beautiful thing about county down payment is that over time, that balance gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So if you're able to keep it and subordinate it when you do your refinance and the balance keeps going down and down and down, you could save money in your refinance and still not have to use any of that equity and have it paid off when you actually, you know, sell or move from that area.
That's good. So that's where that's I guess that's definitely one of the benefits with home ownership because of the equity that can help
Right.
you later on. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And one of the big things that I want to tell people is that, listen, man, it's all for sale.
Mhm.
Never feel as if you don't have any options, right? So let's say that you're looking to sell, or let's say the worst comes to worst and you have to sell that house and you're not really looking to pay off that mortgage. Reach out and see what's possible. Always, always reach out to try to see what could happen. You have nothing to lose but to ask. They could just say no, and you'd have to do what you were going to do anyway, but they could work out a deal with you so that you don't have to pay it all off. Or you could do, like I said, a subordination agreement, or there are different things that can possibly be available, but we won't know unless you ask.
Now,
And if you want to ask and you're not too sure on what you should ask for and how, schedule a call. I'll break it down for you.
and so I know you mentioned credit before, like as far as like the credit score evaluation, but are any credit hindrances? Like I know the score is one thing, but then also what's on your credit could be a factor, like student loans, judgments, bankruptcies. Like any of these can prevent the hometown hero availability.
So one of the biggest things that people are dealing with right now are those student loans that you mentioned, Mo. And student loans can get in the way because what happens is when you actually owe student loans, what conventional mortgages and FHA mortgages do are they actually calculate 5.5% of what your balance is the number that's going to be used for the payment that goes against your debt to income ratio. Now, your debt to income ratio ultimately determines your purchasing power because based on what your gross monthly income is, you can only borrow up to half of that gross monthly debt. Okay. And that's including your new mortgage payment. So ultimately, the more debt you have, the less house you're going to be able to buy. So, what has been done is that FHA and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have come together for so that on conventional and FHA mortgages, you're only going to be able to have to calculate 0.5% of your gross student loan debt as the payment, but you could even get it lower. And the reason why this matters is if you have 100,000 in student loan debt, 50,000 in student loan debt, a calculation of 0.5% or even 1% as it is with conventional mortgages going against your debt to income ratio. So for real numbers, if it's 100,000 in student loan debt, that would be a $1,000 payment that's counted against you. Or if it's 50,000, that's a $500 payment that's counted against you. That could be the difference in you qualifying for a home or not. What you could always do, which is, in my opinion, the best option if you get to it early, get into a repayment plan, particularly an income-driven save repayment plan, safe repayment plan. Because what that does is, in many cases, you could end up with a payment of zero or at least a lot less than what the mortgage calculation payment would be. And this is also better than doing a deferment because once your loan is in deferment, they're just going to be calculating it at the 0.5 or the 1% that's going to go against your debt to income ratio. Now, with a repayment plan, the payment's going to be lower and sometimes even zero, which is now going to make your debt to income ratio a lot stronger. Yeah, so that's a little cheat code that you want to consider if you have student loan debt. And again, these are all nuanced conversations that if you're going through it or you're close to it, or if you want to know more, feel free to get more information so that we could put you in a position to really win.
Perfect. So like can people use like because in most cases income is a factor too. Can they use like self-employed or side hustle income, or is it strictly the professions that are listed under the hometown hero?
Well, I mean, so now we're not bound by the professions anymore.
Oh yeah, you
Now
can.
with Hometown Heroes, as long as you're working for or own a Florida-based business, yeah, you're going to be able to access Hometown Heroes. If you're operating in Florida primarily as your business,
Oh wow.
self-employed, that's another way that you'll be able to access it. Um, but when it comes to like income, we could only use the last 2 years of your income, which means that for self-employed people, a lot of the times we're going to take our write-offs. And if you're looking to buy a house, the year in particular, especially if you've had your business for at least 5 years, what happens is if you've had your business for 5 years, as long as your credit and your overall profile is strong enough, instead of the 2 year tax return requirement, because we always need to check your income to verify your income, we're only going to be looking at 1 year. And if we're only able to look at 1 year, that means that you're only going to have to bite the bullet on your taxes for 1 year instead of comparing 2 years where who wants to pay max taxes for two
Exactly.
years and not, when you could do it more strategically. So if you are self-employed, there's a lot that we can discuss to help you to qualify for more home while paying less taxes. So if that's something that interests you,
Hmm.
yeah, we could definitely give more insight on how to capitalize with that.
Now, can you use a co-signer? I just saw a question about that. A co-signer for like the loan, like in a sense, like
Yeah, absolutely.
you know what I'm saying?
So the only reason why the co-signer would now become a challenge for you is if they own the property, they could still be a non-owner occupant
Okay.
co-borrower, right? Meaning that they won't live in the property, but you could use their income and their credit to help you qualify for the property. Now, if the co-borrower lives in a different state, you wouldn't be eligible for
That's
Hometown
another
Heroes.
question I was thinking of. Yeah.
But that's pretty much the biggest caveat. Other than that, a co-borrower that is under the same guidelines in terms of 640 credit score or better, work for a Florida-based company, there's nothing stopping you from being able to work with that person, that co-borrower, to be able to buy that house.
And then would it be like county specific too? Like say I get it in Tampa, but I want to move to Orlando or vice versa. Like, do you have
Well,
to?
if you live in Florida and you're moving to somewhere else in Florida, you can take advantage of it, period.
Okay, perfect. Because my
Now,
thinking
if
is
you're looking
let's
for a county program,
yeah.
if you're looking at a county program, you have to live in many cases in that county or surrounding counties. They're not going to let you do down payment assistance in like Orange County if you're living in Miami. You won't be able to do that. Or if you're moving from Miami, you just won't be eligible.
Mm. And so, would you say just because I know it's the topic for tonight, would you recommend individuals going after hometown heroes first, and then as a backup, looking into other programs? Like, hey, let's get on a call. Let's see if we can get you qualified here first, or just see whatever they can get off the off.
Well, I'd say go for the most that you can. Now,
Mm,
here's the caveat. Hometown Heroes, the processing time for the loan isn't much longer than it would take if you were just getting a regular mortgage. And a regular mortgage can close in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But with Hometown Heroes, there isn't a lot of time added to that process. There are a lot of county programs and other down payment assistance programs that end up taking a lot more time, and they're a lot more meticulous in what they're looking for in the inspections and what they're looking for in the bank statements. So they're a lot more detail oriented. So that could add time, and they ask questions sometimes that might seem unnecessary, but for their guidelines is what's required. So it does take more time to go for the county programs, but Hometown Heroes generally is going to allow you to close in a similar time frame as a regular mortgage would.
perfect. Yeah, you answered most of the questions I had and most of the questions that I saw available.
Absolutely.
Are there any other things that like come to mind and with this program, or you want to share, just so people can have that at fresh in mind? Like maybe we didn't touch on tonight, but it's good to know.
So the process of buying a house is really an elevation of life, right?
Yeah.
It's like when you take that step from being a friend to being the boyfriend, or from being the boyfriend to being the fiance, or being the fiance to being the husband. This is one of those major graduating steps in life. And a lot of people are afraid of it because if you're like me, you might have experienced or seen people who experience the pain that comes with losing a house or things not working well with the house. But you know what? Those are some of the risks that come with life. But high risk comes high reward. And in this case, this is a risk that if you look down your block, a lot of other people have taken and been able to fairly well with it. This is something that's not beyond you. It's not something that's not your lot in life. This is something that if you have worked or you plan on working and building a financial future for yourself, this is one of the chief building blocks to wealth. And if this could help you, this is something that we could go through all of the details and make sure that you understand how it could benefit you and what the responsibilities of this money will be. But it's opening doors. It's opening doors for people who would say to themselves, I would love to buy, but I don't know where I'm going to get this $15,000 to close. Or I would love to buy, but the money that I've saved, I could only put it towards my debt. Well, let me tell you, now go ahead and put that money towards your debt so that you could increase your credit. But if you do that, while this program is still available, you too can capitalize on 5%, 0% interest money that's going to allow you to buy your home. Don't miss out on that chance. And if there's any questions, any kind of clarity that you need, we're here for you. So schedule a call so that we can help you to take that next step.
Yeah, I was on mute, but that's awesome, man. So
Yeah, man.
definitely, guys, click that link, scan that QR code above because this program is becoming available very soon. When exactly is it coming in? July?
July 1st. July
July
1st.
1st. So
So
we got about two
you want
weeks,
to
y'all,
start
for you
shopping
guys.
for your house right now. And we
Mhm.
are an approved lender. Elevated Funding is a Home Buyer Academy approved home. I'm sorry, Hometown Hero approved lender. So holler at us and we can help you take
Mhm.
those steps.
Yep. And if you got any questions or please drop a message below. Go ahead and join, like, and subscribe to our 2025 Home Buyers Club because we want to educate everyone and make sure everyone's fully prepared for what the market has to offer and that you don't go in blindly, but you have everything that you need to be successful in your home buying journey. It was a pleasure as always with every Tuesday. I'm your host, Maurice. And Chad, you want to take us out?
Well, I'm just grateful and honored to be in a position to be able to share the resources to have people's lives be better. And without a doubt, Hometown Heroes has done a lot of that over the last 2 years. And I'm praying that this is your year that you get to take advantage of Hometown Heroes and make home ownership a reality for you and your family.